There's absolutely no way that you come back the same person as you discover this new land and as you keep paving this new path. You're simultaneously traveling in your internal world. It's called the initiatic path. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't move forward. You have to have this level of faith that you are the one who is able to do this. Each step is the destination, and it's all becoming a part of who you are, a part of who you're meant to become. When the universe sends you signs, you listen. I just came back from the most incredible trip in Europe. My boyfriend and I did Lisbon, Sintra, and Porto in Portugal, and Barcelona and Madrid in Spain. And absolutely everything about this trip, from the sightseeing, the rich history, the art, the culture, the people, the food, was absolutely incredible. But even more so than those things, traveling can become quite a spiritual experience and be spiritually meaningful. A trip really has its own life. And along the way, as you discover this new land and as you keep paving this new path, you're simultaneously learning so much about yourself. We see throughout history many of these so-called spiritually called people, such as mystics and devout seekers, who travel around the world just to seek out this mystical and sacred knowledge. And when you're setting yourself on this kind of journey, it's called the initiatic path, or the path of initiation, by basically throwing yourself into the unknown in uncharted territories in order to seek knowledge. As a dear friend of mine said to me upon my return, quote, "Travel can be so healing and inspiring to help everyday life from a grander, wider, and more joyful perspective." And so it is. She took words right out of my mouth. There's absolutely no way that you come back the same person before you left. A trip changes you. You go through a journey. You're exposed to new energy, to new people, to new culture and perspectives. And in the process, you're expanding your mind, your heart, and your energy. And it's all becoming a part of who you are, a part of who you're meant to become. And I'm not talking about staying at a resort all day or all week where everything is handed to you on a silver platter. I'm talking about real traveling. Because as you travel onto the outer world, you're simultaneously traveling in your internal world. Because remember, everything is a mirror. Your internal world is a reflection of your external world and vice versa. I mean, quite literally, as you're paving this new path on the grounds of this uncharted territory, you are doing the exact same thing in here. You're creating new neurological pathways because you're developing new skills and exercising parts of your brain that you're not used to using. Now, here are the 6 steps into making your travel more spiritually meaningful. Number 1, you're exactly where you're supposed to be at any given moment, no matter where you are. Just a few months before this trip, I had discovered this new cafe called Cafe Chiaro 28. And that is where I would go almost on a daily basis. And that's where I completed my first draft of my first book. It was a foreshadowing of what was to come. Fast forward to the trip, we land in Lisbon, and little did I know, because Max did all the planning, and I had no idea of any of the plans. So we were set out to stay in the area called Chiaro. And as we were getting closer in the Uber to that location, I started seeing these yellow carts everywhere. There was this one particular cart, this one line called 28. And it was like the main one. I realized very shortly after that I was sitting across a canvas in the coffee shop where I was writing, and it never registered that was in Lisbon, even if there was signs of Lisboa everywhere. And I actually got a souvenir of this to symbolize this journey. Remember that there are no coincidences. When the universe sends you signs, you listen. And it was in that moment that I realized I'm meant to be here.
As you can see, it's quite beautiful out here.
This is where I belong. This is where I'm supposed to be in this moment, right here, right now. And number 2, energetic shift. When you're being pulled out from your familiar context, from everything that you know, everything that you're familiar with, that you're so sure of, from the language you speak, from the same people, same environment, same food, same routine, and dropped into foreign grounds from the sky, your system is almost being like shocked by so much newness, and by activating all your senses, that it kind of turns on this alertness within you, and you actually become more present that way. Number 3, initiation. The mere decision that you decided to take a trip is the implicit acknowledgement that you're starting something new, that you're embarking on a new path, and you're initiating yourself to a journey into uncertainty willingly. Now, for the first part of my trip, we went to Quinta de Regaleira in Sintra, Portugal, and there was a very famous well there called the Initiation Well, where it was supposedly created for mystical, sacred, and secret ritualistic initiation rites, representing death and rebirth. The spiral cases depicted a journey into depths of darkness, unconsciousness, and a rise up into consciousness, into the light, enlightenment. These structures aren't to be taken lightly, especially if you're spiritually inclined and understand the deeper meaning on a spiritual level of these symbolic structures. Even if you think that you're being just a tourist that's passing by, you're actually energetically entering a portal that's going to take you on that journey that you're signing up for by simply entering the gates of the initiation well. Number 4, healing. When we were in Madrid in Spain, it happened to be November 1st, which was the new moon in Scorpio. And I don't always feel the moon, but that particular day, boy, did I feel it. And it was so strong. The energies were coming in really powerfully. And I was really confronted with, unexpectedly, by the way, with my darkness, with my shadow. And this was the part of me that I had been trying to repress and suppress. It was actually quite deeper than I thought it was. And I was really faced to confront and to shine light on this part that I was feeling. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't move forward. No one else is going to believe you. So you have to have this level of faith that you are the one who is able to do this, that you can, changing that vocabulary, but also the mindset and therefore your belief system. For me, this trip was extremely healing and quite necessary. And speaking of shadows, a few days before the new moon, there was a violent flood that took over the city of Valencia, and I'm sure that you have heard of it. And that was very apparent to me that that was the dooming consequence of a global shadow, the global unconsciousness of climate change. And it was representing the consequence of unconscious action and the collective unconsciousness. Number 5, the journey is the destination. We are programmed to always get there, then you'll be happy. But traveling really makes you more present, to stay in the moment. Each step is the destination. By making each step conscious, you become fully in the presence by transcending time and space. Number 6, a new home. When you're coming back from a trip, you're not going back to your old home. because you have changed. You're bringing back your new energy, your new perspectives, your expansion, and your new self is creating a new home because you are now integrating all these new parts of you into your home. And sometimes you just get this sense of readiness, like I'm ready to go back home, and you have this excitement within you. On the plane ride back here, I watched the movie Inside Out 2. And what a brilliant movie, not just for children, but also for adults. And they hint on how you can't hide away from your shadows forever, because eventually they will resurface. And it's basically teaching you how to transcend them into light. You basically let all the parts of you become you. This was definitely one of those trips that I didn't know I needed. And, to take a soul trip, you don't have to go to a different country, a different continent. I've done this type of trip in my own city for just a few hours. Go on a trail, on a little hike, and just be conscious of every step that you take and see around you what it's trying to teach you. And a simple little getaway for a few hours like that can do wonders for your spirit, for your soul, for your mind and your heart and your body. So I hope that this has been insightful for you. And if you are interested in working with me, I do offer one-on-one sessions. My link is in my bio, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you for tuning in.